So it's not all about the banks this week. We're getting dozens of other large cap companies, and we're getting one of the former FANG stocks to lead it off, the one that always does, Netflix, reporting this week. What are these companies going to tell us about what's going on in the economy? We all looked at them in the fourth quarter earnings reports a couple of months ago, but now, we're a couple months into the new year. What are they seeing? We're going to find out. But let's take a look at the 5 stocks you must watch this week to find out a little more tidbits about what's going on with the economy right now. So the first one is the rails. This is one of my favorite areas, and we're going to talk about CSX today, ticker CSX. Look at that earnings surprise track record, just 3 misses in the last 5 years. So it's pretty much outstanding. But as you can see, they're very small beats. They're very good at managing expectations. This one is a meet right here. So they barely escaped a lot of meets, a couple of meets in there. So that's good management of the analysts to give them good insight into what is happening with their business right now. But you can see these shares actually busting out to new 5-year highs here in 2024. But it's come down off of these highs. And we're wondering now whether or not it's going to hold all of the gains that it gained in 2024. It's up only 2% year to date right now going into this number. It is trading at 18 times. Now, that's a little cheaper than we've seen some of the rails trade in years past. We've mostly seen them over 20 times. So to trade at 18 is looking a bit attractive here. Does pay a dividend yielding 1.4%. But the rails, so important to know what's going on with the economy. So I'm going to be tuning in on CSX this week. Okay, then we're going to switch it over to real estate, to the housing market with DR Horton. We've had a couple home builders already report prior to the start of earnings season on the fiscal year. But this is a good one to watch this week because it is one of the largest builders out there. And you can see it is a very good earnings surprise track record, but it has started to miss. It missed last quarter just by 2%. And then we had a miss in 2022. This is after the Fed started raising rates by 7.7%. But otherwise, an excellent track record, especially during the pandemic back here in 2020 when the pandemic hit. And things were chaotic in the home builder market. This is impressive. And then even in 2021, when we had supply chain issues, remember when they couldn't get garage doors? So they couldn't close on the homes because nobody had a garage door. Those times are in the past, but still interesting to see what's happening with the higher mortgage rates. How much are they having to buy down these rates? And the rates are on the rise again, back over 7%. So we're going to be watching all of these things and more. The shares are still cheap, even though trading near those 5-year highs, just 10.7 times forward earnings. That's the PE ratio. Shares are actually down 1% year to date now. Dividend yielding 0.8%. A lot of these home builders have great free cash flows. A lot of them are also buying back shares, so keep that in mind when you're watching any of these home builders this earnings season. But that's DR Horton, ticker DHI. And then we're going to get to that FANG name that maybe, is it making a comeback? Is the Magnificent Seven over? Is FANG going to resurge? Maybe, if Netflix has anything to do with it. So Netflix, ticker NFLX. It's always been rocky on its earnings surprises, and you can see all of these misses back here during the pandemic. But surprisingly, when the shares were selling off, it started a real nice earnings surprise track record, and with a bunch of beats in a row, and now we've just had 2 in the last 2+ years. So that's a good track record, and we did have a small surprise or miss last quarter, just 4% there, but the shares have kept rising here, now up 28% year to date. And I don't know about you, but could Netflix be attempting to take back those 2021 highs? What a turnaround that would be. Many people didn't see that coming. It's trading at 36 times forward earnings. So on a historic basis, that's not as expensive as we've seen it, and not even as expensive as we saw back here in 2021. So this is quite the story. Many of us are going to be tuning in again, just like the good old days when it was one of the prominent FANG stocks. But I'm going to be watching Netflix this week, and you should too, ticker NFLX. And then we got another hot growth stock that used to be really prominent, now not quite as prominent, Intuitive Surgical, ticker ISRG. We've talked about it many times here on the Earnings All Stars videos because it has had this great earnings surprise track record, but it suddenly has had these two misses in 2022, but very small, just 1.7%, and then 2023, 2.4%. Now it's turned it around with 4 beats in a row, and these shares have busted out to new highs after taking that break like a lot of growth stocks did in 2022. This is the surgical systems, the Da Vinci surgical systems that helps surgeons around the globe. It's back in favor and still not cheap anymore. If you got it back here in 2022, it was much more attractive, as you might imagine. But now it's back to the good old days of trading at 62 times. That's pretty much around where it has traded historically. So I'm not surprised to see it breaking out here, up 14.8% year to date. Little too pricey for me, but that doesn't mean I'm not tuning in to see if it can continue with this great breakout rally here. But that's Intuitive Surgical. A lot of growth investors going to be watching it again. ISRG is the ticker. Then we're going to wrap it up with energy, but not one of the producers. We're going to start off with the services with SLB, formerly known as Schlumberger. It considers itself a technology company now because it's using technology in oil services to increase production of its clients and customers. But you can see this is the only pure earnings all-stars that I'm featuring this week. No misses in the last 5 years. And what makes that even more impressive for SLB is that after this big sell-off to start 2020, energy was basically in what I would consider to be a depression here as the price of crude went negative. Demand was zero when everybody was on lockdowns, and nothing was going on. Earnings plunged, the whole thing, as you can imagine, the darkness descended on energy. But once we got the vaccine right around here, you can basically see when the vaccine was announced from Pfizer, things started to improve on the energy side. And while it's been rocky and volatile, it's been up and away for Schlumberger until late last year into this year. We had this nice pullback, but it allowed you to get in at a cheaper price. I added SLB to the value investor portfolio on this weakness, and it's still fairly weak. It's not back, as you can see, to those 2023 highs, and it's only up 1% year to date. Now, it is fairly cheap. It's been cheap this entire time. It's trading at 14.8 times. So the PE is starting to catch up a little bit with what the story is, but we will see. It's been growing earnings at a nice clip here the last couple of years. Can that continue, especially with everything that's going on globally on the geopolitical side? So this will be an interesting play to see what's going on the energy services side, and I'm going to be tuning in for this one. Ticker SLB for SLB. And as you can see, there's some interesting charts that we're showing this week. Some are still breaking out. Others have broken down and have given back some of the gains recorded earlier in the year. But can this earnings season turn it around? Will it be better than expected? Analysts are still expecting earnings growth from the S&P 500 in the first quarter. Will we get it, or will we get even more than what they're expecting? This is all the dilemmas that are out there, and we're still early in earnings season, just the second week this week. So you want to be sure to tune in, get all of our Earnings All-Stars charts on YouTube. Get them all there. Go to Zacks.com/YouTube, where you'll also get our top stock picks of the week, plus some podcasts and Brian's big ideas. He's always posting interesting charts over there in that segment, but be sure to get us somewhere, and I'll see you again next week with some more earnings charts.